Well, welcome everyone for this next second episode of Conversations with Miri Naad. And I'm really excited about this episode. I'm really happy that you're all here joining me from different, originally from different parts of the world, but Mona is actually connecting from about near Byron Bay today. Yeah. So the aim of this series is really to have really authentic and open-hearted conversations with amazing human beings, and see how we can together create and co-create different ways of experiencing what we're all experiencing in this now. And in this second episode, I really wanted to invite you guys, beautiful human, amazing, bright spirits, very grounded beings, but also very unique and outspoken, strong voices, passionate beings from different parts of the world. So thank you. I really appreciate that you're here. Brian, if you want to wait for us. Yay. Okay. Mona. Yay. Feel it? Yay. And I'm Miri Naad. Okay. So I just want to introduce each of you. Bear with me a little bit, and then I'm just going to sort of go through expounding a little bit, putting out there some of the questions I want us to chat about. It's really just chat about based on your own life experience, based on your circumstances, based on your current ongoing flow of the now and how you are truly navigating it, because this is what really I want to go to the core. It's not about information that we've been acquiring for years anymore. I don't think it's about the mind anymore. It's really about the heart, and it's really about experiencing it and bringing from this present moment, bringing our own gift or service to whoever is listening and whoever will be connecting to us, whether it's live recorded or later on in life. All right, so we have I'm going to start with Mona. Mona Rayo is originally from California, and she lived in New Zealand for 7.5 years, and this is where I met her. I met her here in Wellington. She is now living just outside Byron Bay. Mona is a beautiful, amazing sound yogi, I could describe her as at the moment. She actually practiced Kundalini yoga and meditation since 2008. She got me into Kundalini practice, and I really want to thank you, Mona, for that, because it was Mona and her weird yoga. I had done before that Bikram, and I've done Hatha and Vinyasa. But when she's like, I invite you over to Miramar and let's do this Kundalini yoga, and I was like, okay, sounds good, you know, the Kundalini. And she just got me into this like weird, I thought like, what was that? I had no idea what happened there. But what really hooked me in is in a moment of really deep anxiety in my life, where I was actually in my knees and heels in the floor. I texted Mona and said, Mona, help. And she sent me this amazing breath kriya to do. And immediately after I started that, I released the anxiety, I wept, I let go of whatever I was holding or resisting, and I went into this beautiful peace, inner peace. And that's when I thought, ooh, I like this yoga. So I got really hooked into Kundalini yoga, and I've been practicing for only good 2 years. So it's been life-changing for me. So Mona has been doing this for over a decade. She's also practicing mantra. She's really into sound. She has her own, how would you call your instrument, Mona?
Vibration. Oh, okay. I have a shruti box. I have a small shruti box and a harmonium as well that I recently acquired into my field.
Yes. So she does beautiful videos on Instagram that involve sound and mantra in a very unique and soulful way. She has her own way of doing this in her own style. So I really connect to her voice, her specific vibration and frequency, and I really like it because she's also very fierce. She's really into the wild feminine, very grounded. and about empowerment, right, Mona?
Oh, totally.
And I love her Californian accent. Okay.
Good.
Now we're gonna go to Brian. Right, Brian is from Buenos Aires, Argentina originally. He's been moving around the world a wee bit, going through New York and Berlin. Obviously, he has been in California too, Mona. Maybe you cross paths sometime.
Yeah, totally.
He's now residing in New Zealand for the past 5 years. And he has a background in neuroscience. I really like that one. And more than 50 years of experience teaching, practicing yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and different healing modalities. Brian is able to synthesize modern scientific knowledge with ancient wisdom. And I think that's really key, because the next episode will be exactly that, about how we're merging science with this wisdom that is everywhere, and it's talking loudly to us, basically in nature, right? So that's beautiful that we're starting to work with that more. He is obviously a practicing Tibetan Buddhist. Did I say it right? Tibetan.
Yeah, Tibetan. Yeah.
Tibetan Buddhist. He started Tibetan Buddhism as well. Currently, he's committed to conscious lifestyle practices. I've been following Brian's work. He has this mission of conscious action movement, and he's going through businesses. He's getting in that level of getting people from all from that corporate world, really, to getting to conscious action, to getting to mindfulness, to getting to the now. And I think your work is beautiful, because you obviously, you'll talk about it, but it's obviously about grounding and bringing people into the moment in very practical ways.
Yes.
And so he's obviously a mindfulness coach. He has podcasts, and yeah, you're very out there, right, Brian? Even though you're kind of very inwards, but
A little bit, yes.
Okay. Now we're gonna go to Phil Townsend. He is a New Zealand born and bred beautiful Kiwi. He is very grounded in himself. He is a practitioner of yoga, qigong, and shamanism. He provides a special blend of meditations and honorings, which assist those seeking deeper connection. I like what he wrote when he sent me his little bio. He said, "We speak from our own unique experience to help others find their uniqueness. Through this process, everyone is enriched." And absolutely concur on that, Phil. If we don't speak from our own perspective, from our own uniqueness and our own voice, based on our own path and journey, then it feels less authentic. It feels scripted. And what I like about you guys from this new generation, let's be real. And it's, for me, it's a fresh breath. You're like, oh, yes, finally, real people talking about real stuff. And it's not always rosy, and it's not always happy and squishy and mushy, There is that sense of, oh my God, this sucks, or this is hard, or how I deal with my emotions. And there's so much information, and there's so much going on around me. I can't shut my mind off. I can't be quiet. How do I find peace? So today, really, the aim is to dive into this conversation of what it means to be present. And yeah, I just really want to open the mic here. What is, for each one of you, what is being present? And we can even start from maybe defining what is the being, what is the present, what is time, maybe not. I don't know. I really leave up to you. What is being present for you?
I feel like the being and the present seem to be quite similar, if not the same thing. Like a state of being and then there'd be like being present. It's just about being clear or being still enough to actually notice what's going on, or being less distracted maybe, or less pulled away from your center point perhaps. Yeah. I when you asked if there's a difference between being and present, I was wondering, is there one? I don't know. Do you guys have something to say about that?
I'll just tell a little story because I just got back from California into Australia. And for the first 2 weeks, I had to go into quarantine. And I spent that time going, okay, what am I thinking? What am I doing? What am I creating? Make sure I'm not taking a negativity or things like that. And I realized once I kind of worked myself into a bit of a hole that I was trying to do something to avoid being in the present moment. And I got to this point where I thought, okay, shit, I really just have to do the final thing. And I did a yoga practice that was to release fear and sadness. And after that practice, for the first time in my quarantine, I live on a beautiful 15 acres. I went outside and I sat down and I heard the wind. And to me, that is being, where I actually created, when, like you said, Phil, when we have enough space to be aware of what is happening in our present moment. So that's being, to me, is being able to hear the wind.
Some quietude where we're actually able to observe. Yeah.
Oh. Wow, in reality, everything's beautiful and peaceful. Who knew? It was all my mind before that. All made up.
Yeah, I think that for me, like, when this question takes me to a lot of different places and a lot of different perspectives on how to approach it. Like, just what is being? That for me is understanding, like, beingness, or like or a human being, a sentient being, and starting to understand that for me everything is energy. There's nothing that is not energy, and we as beings are a specific and dynamic configuration of that energy. And that dynamic part for me is the key, that it keeps on changing. Like, I'm never static, I'm never the same. No one is ever the same. And when I understand that I am a specific configuration of energy, I'm all the time changing, I'm all the time evolving, and I'm in relationship with everything, then my experience starts to change. Or I know from my own experience, it started to change when I started getting this understanding. And the present moment is everything. There is nothing that is not the present moment. And how I am experiencing that, that's the key.
Yes.
For me, it's like, always, I've been doing a lot of energy practice, a lot of practices that focus on my body, focusing on the breath. That brings me back to the present moment, which is all there is. The mind is going to the future, it's going to the past, going to all of these hypothetical scenarios that are not there. Are possibilities or things that happen, but that's not rooted in this moment now here. So for me, it's key always to return, as Phil, you were saying, like that center spot, like that center of our being, in that space. That is where we actually reside. That's where our consciousness is living. And the the true center of our being. And if we stay connected with that, then we can be in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for when we get too much in our mind and we get, as Mona, you were just saying, like that doing. I actually talk a lot in when I'm doing some workshops about, we have been, the majority of us have been conditioned to doing, doing, doing. And I always say, we're not human doings, we are human beings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need to return to that.
Yes.
So in a sense, like that, when you say like being and when you say the present moment, those are the main things that for me come up in that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think for what it is very important when we actually dealing with overload of information, real emotions surfacing that are connected to grief or fear or worry, right? Because we can have this concept and people will go agree, yeah, that makes sense. Being now is being aware of my environment and trying very hard to be inside and be present. But if it just remains a concept, it just is that. And what I really want to dive even deeper is, what is the fastest way that can take us to that ever present moment? And I want to explore the breath, because I think all of us utilize the breath as a way of immediately bringing us into the present moment, no matter what. And I'm sure there's many techniques. I have done Wim Hof. I've done the breath of fire in Kundalini yoga. And I know that Qigong also has its own way of, the Tantien, utilizing the energy, the Qi energy. So that is our core, I guess that's our core main tool. This is our main, this is like our wood element, basic element that the four of us utilize as a real key to bring us into the moment. So maybe if you want to share any technique or any way of experiencing or what it is the breath for you, and how can we actually achieve this center that you're searching, or this quietness of the mind.
I can share from my experience. I found that when I started getting some different ways of connecting to my breath, my experience started to shift into being more present. And one of the main ways is that it comes from Tibetan yoga and Tibetan meditation, and it's breathing more from my mouth. So most of us are used to breathing through our nose. And in this tradition, we breathe through both our nose. Sorry, my computer is moving. Breathing through our nose and our mouth at the same time, inhaling and exhaling, so through both channels.
Okay.
And that for me has been amazing in allowing that energy to really be anchored and grounded in my body to bring me to the present moment. And it took me quite a lot of time to be able to do this, to breathe through both channels at the same time. And when I work with people, I always tell them, if that is challenging, breathe more through your mouth.
Okay. Why the mouth? Is it because it really connects the back of your throat and it opens more the diaphragm cavity? What is the...
Well, there's a few different reasons. The one that I usually share is that when we breathe through the nose, like what we're breathing is not just air. We're breathing energy, prana, chi, however we want to call it, that life force. When we breathe through our nose, that energy goes up, just like the channel in our nose goes first up and then down. And when we breathe directly from the mouth, that energy goes down to our body. So when I want to be more in my body, instead of having that recycled energy first to the head, then I'm bringing that energy directly from my mouth. And that is something that we normally do when we're starting to get physically tired. when we go for a run or something like that, we started gasping for air, we don't do from our nose, like we do that from our mouth.
When we yawn as well, right?
Yeah. Like the body intuitively knows how to get that.
Yes. I like that. I like that, breathing through the mouth. What about in Qigong or your own practice, Phil? What is the breath that works for you?
Well, in Qigong, I guess it's a diverse realm, but it's mostly just breathing into your lower torso, your belly region. And I think that's a technique that I use a lot of, is a belly breathing, and you can do it lying down and just focus on inflating that lower part of the torso. And I think, well, in my experience, that seems to be very calming, very slowing. It slows things down. So if the issue is we're going too fast and we're processing too much information and we're going in too many directions, then that belly breath seems to really do it. And yeah, that's the Dantian. It's the center storage place for your energy. So I get, also sort of putting some good chi into that location. And I think with a focus like with the mouth breath or with the belly breath or anything, or even a full body breath where you inflate your belly, then your ribs, then your upper chest, then even like your shoulders and your back, it gives you something to do, something to focus. And when the doer has something to do, then pretty soon we're back here and now, baby, and we can just keep back in the flow. Yeah.
All right. And Mona, what is your favorite technique of breath that takes you into the present moment?
Really doing the belly breath as well, inhaling through the nostrils, bringing the breath all the way into the belly, filling the ribs, coming all the way up into the collarbone, and then a gentle suspension of the breath, holding the breath in, lifting up on the pelvic floor, drawing the navel inward, and focusing, relaxing the shoulders, focusing at the third eye, really, filling yourself up, relaxing, and then releasing the breath from the chest, bringing the rib cage together, and then drawing the navel back in. I find that the breath suspension takes a lot of control. So without getting like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna explode here, So being able to consciously relax the body while having the breath in is a great way to get the mind in line.
Yes.
That all with the third eye focus. Yeah. Because I noticed that if my eyes are kind of going everywhere, then my mind's still going everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. I just thought of something I think we also have in common, and I think it goes very in hand with utilizing the breath, which is utilizing our voice as an instrument, right? I know that Brian, we all of us do some kind of sound practice, whether it is hearing it, whether it is giving ourselves or offering sound baths. I use toning and tuning. I use light language, and I use tuning forks as well. But I also found that mantra, it's very, very important for those of us that need to be in control of our mind, or it's harder to let go of our mind, or even though we're in the breath, the mind still needs to be kept busy. Because sometimes we can encounter this. Some days it's really easy to dive into the now. So some other days your mind is just racing and it's not stopping, right? And that's when I personally feel that the mantra tricks the mind to be busy to start with, until it just let goes and gets into a rhythm. So what I really want to dive into mantra. maybe we can think of, maybe just think of it, if you have utilized mantra in your daily life, how does it work? Is there any particular mantra that works very well for you? And maybe, Mona, if you're feeling brave enough, maybe you can sing a beautiful mantra for us, and that could be kind of like maybe towards the end a little bit.
Sure.
So who wants to start with who has utilized mantra, and what is mantra? Okay.
So I do a lot of mantra work. And really I utilize Gurmukhi mantra. Gurmukhi means from the mouth of the Guru. It is a simplified Sanskrit. And in my experience, it's a really powerful tool to redirect the mind. So while we use the mantra in this language, it's called the Shabad Guru. So the word Shabad is broken down. Sha is the ego, and Bud is to cut. So we're essentially taking a sword when we're with the mantra and cutting our ego off. So yeah, because when we start chanting mantra, it's so common for people that have never utilized mantra to go, what the fuck is going on? And why am I doing this? And how long have I been doing this? And all of these things. And if we can come back to the mantra, for example, Sat Nam, it's a bij mantra, a seed mantra, very simple. Inhale Sat, exhale Nam. Then the mantra cuts off our subconscious thoughts that tend to flood in. So with practice, usually the thoughts come in stronger in the beginning. And if you can stay with the sound current, then they start to release less and less.
Wonderful. I like the Sat Nam. I use a Sat Nam often as well. Even if it's inside my head when I'm breathing, I'm going Sat Nam, whether it's fast or slow, and it's I find it really useful. And if I find that there's this intrusive thought, it's like stronger. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, and then you go, right? Do you utilize mantra, Phil or Brian?
I like the Satnam as well, and from my research, I heard that basically different languages, different mouth shapes, different words have a different effect. And what people are saying is that English is kind of a stunted language. So to go to something like Sanskrit, it's like it's got a fuller vibration, and it's going to work on your body and your system on a whole nother level. For me, I'm not really doing mantras in a traditional sense. I do a lot of decrees, I am statements, just going back on what I've already said about English, but I use English. But I'm not a fan of just a simple vowel sound. It's more the consonants, those hard stops. So what I do is I get some space, maybe go to the forest, and I just make these ahs and oohs and just let my mouth and my body do whatever. It gets kind of weird. Emotion in that, so much connection in that, and I think that's how I do mantra, is just with O's and R's and E's, just searching for the tone that really resonates.
Yes. True, it's a vibration. When you hit the note and hit the vibration, and that's where Spanish speakers like us, Brian, we have a lot of the R's, the rrr, and that grrr. It's a vibration, and you can feel it. So it's wonderful for me, reconnecting to sound after 17 years, or 50. I've been 17 years in New Zealand, almost 18. One of the things I missed at the very first 2-3 years in New Zealand was the utilizing of the voice, being able to be loud and being able to you know, really being in the street and going, you know, and here was like very quiet and no one was just like, ooh. Now it's changing a lot. It has. I mean, you know, since 2002 to now it's amazing. But still it's incredible. Still I have people going, ooh, you know, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm being too much, you know, okay, sorry, I'm being Mexican. But it's more like, well, being a human being. Because sound for me is a way to release. And I find even if I think I'm fine, I'm good, it's a beautiful day. Sometimes if I'm really getting to my breath and I start going with my oh and my e, and then sometimes I'm going and then I start weeping because I feel that e, I hit the notes and I connect to that feeling and I weep. And then I remember when I arrived to New Zealand, I heard my first karakia, I think went to Rotorua, and I heard this Maori woman singing this incredible song. There was no, it bypassed my brain. I was straight into the emotion. And I thought, wow, that is powerful. That is powerful to be able to do that with the voice. And I think we're missing a lot, the utilizing of our voice and our sounds, right? Mantra and the use of our voice as a main instrument to connect to our own vibrational imprint, right? We all have our own, and I think it's very important as well. You know, a lot of people hear mantras, and that's wonderful. But I really want to encourage people to utilize their own voice because we have our own sound, and when we speak to ourselves out loud, our entire body is listening. Our body's listening. Our entire cells, you know, all these trillions of cells are listening. And when we connect to our own voice, even with eyes closed, whether if it's an om or a humming, whatever it is, it completely gets us into that reality that we exist in this beautiful, strong human technology, which is our body, energetic. And I find it really soothing. And it's a really good start to connect to who we are rather than being outside, thinking that outside is the savior, outside is the guru, outside is the answer. Someone has to solve it for me. And more in this era of information where a lot of people are really focusing too much on give me the magic pill, give me the 3 most important techniques for me to achieve ascension now. It's like, whoa, hold on. Stop it right now. The only way is start with yourself. How does it feel to be you? And you start with your breath because it connects you to the fact that you're alive. If you don't breathe, you're not here. You die, right? In this form. We need the oxygen. We need the energy. And then we voice it. Then it's grounding, right? So I really want to encourage that. And that's why voicing, toning, mantraing, affirmations, whatever it is that you can do will really help you to get in contact with your own presence and your own wisdom and your own guru. So Brian, with that, do you utilize mantra and what maybe you can share with us a unique technique that might help us or something?
So I've been using mantras for quite a long time now, and there were a lot of different reasons why I got into mantra. The first one was because I loved singing, but when I was a kid, my brother used to tell me that I was ruining music when I sang. So when I found mantras, and suddenly everybody wanted me to go louder, I found my space in terms of using my voice. And when that happened, I not only discovered that connection inside, but also I discovered the power, as you were just saying, of the power of sound. And the power of sound is the closest thing that we have on the physical plane to the vibration of energy. both when we do that, as you say, with the tuning forks, with the singing bowls, or with our own voice. And it's an embodiment as well of those energies. And for me, I practice a lot for many years, Sanskrit and Tibetan Buddhist mantra. But I always go back to, and especially for me, but also when I'm sharing it with people, I always go back to the most basic, A and For two reasons. A, because most people that are not used to Sanskrit or Tibetan or any other ancient language, they a lot of times they want to understand logically what they are saying and not allowing the experience. And also sometimes it's quite a challenging thing to remember. So I always tell people, like, just that's easy. You don't need to remember it. You can just sit and do it. And we were talking before about breath, and breath is really related to this. Breath, like, we need to use our breath to help us with this. So one of the things, and perhaps you can try it now and see how it sounds, but it's just doing 3 rounds of ah. So it's just ah, and we keep it going. So when we need to breathe in again, like, the rest of us are going to continue.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so you can lower your volumes, whoever is listening to as well, because you okay, or you can join us and then it doesn't matter, we're just going nuts with the I'm gonna unmute you, Phil, because you were just bouncing sounds. Okay.
So the first thing, I invite everyone to just sit comfortably for a moment, and if you need to, close your eyes and inhale and just exhale, and then inhale for the
Oh, feels good, definitely.
I feel like we could all just probably sit here for the next hour and do that together.
Because your head starts vibrating, right? You have this resonance, which is our bones. And me, when I use my tuning forks applying into the body, it's very incredible how you can actually feel the vibration traveling through your bones. And bones are this channel as well of energy and information, and we become resonant, and then it starts in a coherent, right? We get into coherence. And if you, after you're doing and breathing and feeling, if you're not achieving the now, then you are really stuck in the head, and then maybe you need some grounding. And then the next thing, I think, but that could be for another episode definitely, is body work, right? Otherwise it really stays, sometimes you really need to stand up and use the body. You really need to shake and stamp, you know, you really need to move and dance and just without rhythm. You know, I do my dancing and I'm like crazy, but it is important because also we are storing so much everywhere in our bodies and we need to release it. So it's these three tools for me is breath, sound, and movement. Is real, down to earth, bodily embodiment technology that we can utilize if your circumstances and you have your body in a great shape and you're able to breathe, sound, and move. I reckon pretty much it's your starter kit for being present.
And I just wanted to add something that from what you were just saying. For me, one of the most important aspects of chanting or mantra or toning, however practice we do, is the feeling. So that resonance in my belly, in my chest, in my throat, like actually that is the main part as I'm doing that. It's that vibration in my body that is super important. And also like for me, one of the key things that changed my experience of mantras was when I'm doing that, following the sound. So once the sound leaves my mouth, where's that sound traveling? Like that doesn't stop, that's going somewhere. So just following with my awareness. So those two things paired with the breath and the sounding are for me one of the key elements of that practice.
Right. Why Sanskrit, Mona? Why you think Sanskrit, in your case, in your experience, achieves a higher frequency of vibration if we talk about levels or depth?
So I utilize Gurmukhi, which is a simplified Sanskrit. And just like Brian was saying, it is simplified. So I think it's a little bit easier to grasp onto for a lot of people, especially with learning a new language, you know. So one of the most powerful mantras, I told that story of coming back and all the craziness and then doing this yoga set. And for the first 10 minutes of the yoga set, bringing the body in, like you were talking about, Miri, and chanting the mantra, Had.
I love it.
Yeah. So physically getting, you know, all of the anger and all of the fear and all of the anxiety that had been building up in my body, and chanting the mantra Had whilst punching the air. So yeah, Had, 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 Had. So doing that, utilizing the sound, the tongue flipping onto the upper palate. So it's like it's creating a code. It's tapping this code, which is engaging all of these different parts of the brain and allowing our glandular system to start to secrete. And that combination of doing it with movement, and there's breath as well while you're chanting mantra to be able to maintain a mantra. It's like the trifecta, you know, to get you to that space, that 0 point that we're kind of looking for. And with Gurmukhi, for me, it just really resonates. It's a beautiful language. I love it so much. And as it's been explained to me, the way that the tongue does tap the upper palate, it's tapping a code into all of those meridian points.
Yes. It's like dialing, touching inner technology, no? Putting the formula in.
And it's not so much about what the mantra means, as like you were saying, Brian, it's about what it does. So us in the West, we're always like, well, what does this mean? Who am I praying to? No, I love Gurmukhi because it's command language. You're not going, oh God, come help me, come save me. No, I need prosperity. I need protection. I need, to open up my heart. Okay, I command the space. And that's what is so powerful about Gurmukhi for me.
Yeah, and also from what you're saying, Mona, and from what you said, Miri, earlier about the Karakia here in Maori, all of the, or most of the ancient languages understood the power of vibration and the words. So words actually have a certain vibration, and that is why chanting in Sanskrit or Tibetan or Hebrew or any language that is ancient, that the words themselves carry the vibration of the meaning behind it. And that is why also it's powerful, but we cannot understand that here.
The sounds were,
there was sound.
Yeah, the sounds were there, and then we created language, and now we're trying to make sense of it now, but
So,
never really be translated.
That's right. And for Phil, you were saying you utilize affirmations, and I have used, and I still use, even though I do mantra too, but I'm not too deep into the Sanskrit just yet, because sometimes I find I get stuck in my mind thinking, am I saying it correctly? So it's really interesting. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter, but I feel like kind of does at the same time. So sometimes I am, even if I'm just using an affirmation, whether it's in Spanish or English, because if we connect to that affirmation from emotion, then kind of you can achieve similar results. What is an affirmation that works for you, Phil, when you are actually either meditating or breathing or doing your work?
Well, you can use just about anything, but the most powerful ones are prefaced by I am. Like Mona was saying, you want to give a command. You want to give an unequivocal statement to yourself and to life and to the universe that I am this thing. For me, the ones that work would be just something simple like I am peace, I am pure peace, I am joy, I am infinite, even more expansive. The different words are different, give a different sensation in the body. Yesterday I had a lot of I was doing I am beauty, I am abundance. I was trying that on, and it's really started vibrating here in my throat. Like, so you get a feedback when you're trying them. But I think if you want something to start with, it's just I am pure love, I am pure peace, and that really quiets things down quickly, puts you in a tranquil state. And if you can attach a memory, if you can bring your emotion into it, it's so much more powerful. You can think about something that makes you happy and that you love, if you're doing a love affirmation, and that it amplifies it. But yeah, even without that, it's powerful.
Sometimes I catch myself thinking, so then I say it, I'm the light of the world, the light of the world I am. And I can just keep going, I am the light of the world, the light of the world I am the light of the world, the light of the world I am the light of the world, the light. And then here I am like, woo, of course, I don't have the voice of Mona, but she will give us a little, she agreed, she'll give us a exclusive world premiere live from Byron Bay.
From the office.
Demonstration to close the session. So we're gonna start I wanna finish with Mona, taking us into a little bit of that sound journey. I really want to thank everyone. I know we can keep going on for hours, but unfortunately not everybody has the attention span and maybe the time or the patience to hear us talk. It's really about just connection, right? Co-creation, being human, and being strong, being sovereign, being free to bring conscious action into our life, to plant a seed within our spheres, to let our own grass tend our own garden, if I want to use a metaphor, and maybe stop worrying so much of what's going on outside. It really doesn't matter. You shut it down, still's going on. You have no, the only thing that you can really do is tend to your garden, increase your frequency, your vibration, be in joy, be in peace, be in the now, love compassionately, and with no judgments, truly. People that are around you here and now, your pets, your children, your friends, yourself. You start with yourself. And I think if we all really focus on that, we create this beautiful coherence effect. It just adds up because we're trees and we're all connected to each other anyway. So instead of being here, we go back to here, we go back to the belly, we go back to the body, we command, here I am live and I'm ready, I'm flowing. And that's a great way to start. So I really thank you for everyone to have joined me to the conversations, and we will be doing one in Spanish soon. So for our Spanish speaking friends, and just to start reaching a little bit more of Latin America. I have friends in Mexico, Colombia. I'm sure Brian has a lot of people in Spain and Argentina. So learn Spanish, you guys, because I would have loved to have you on board too. All right, thank you so much. I will be posting all the information, contacts, and links to all these wonderful human beings who have joined me today in Conversations with Miri Naad. And I'll leave you now with Mona to lead us into a very beautiful heart space right now.
Your belly, gently filling yourself with air. And as you inhale, just continue with this breath, the mantra of deep listening. Aneka bagita saravega. Sunne tuku kabukana. Sunne isara barama in. Sunne muku salahan manna. Sunne joga jugatan beda. Sunne sasata simaretave. Annika bagita saravega. Sunne tuku kabakana. Nice deep inhalation. Spend the breath. Draw the navel in, pull up on the mullaband, lifting the pelvic floor. Relax the shoulders. Focus at the third eye. Take a moment. And exhale. Satnam.
Satnam, Mona, thank you for that. Very beautiful.